Hi, Desert Hot Springs. Scott Mattis, the mayor, coming to you with a new update. It is May 9th, 2020, and it is Saturday. I know we haven't come to you with the update for about over a week, but we had some things happen at our city council on Tuesday. Thursday was the governor's update, and Friday was the board of supervisors update. So a lot of information to get out there today. Assisting me today is the assistant city manager, Doria Whelms, who's our public information officer, and she's going to be going through some factual information for you to get you all caught up to where we're at today, the past, the present, and hopefully the future here real soon. I just want to put out there that the city of Desert Hot Springs continues to have a mask ordinance. On Tuesday, the city council decided to talk about being proactive to what we knew the state and the governor was moving towards. The state and the county were moving towards. And so with that said, we wanted to make sure the city of Desert Hot Springs continue to be safe by putting an ordinance out there to mandate face masks to be continued to be worn. Those masks are to be worn when you're out in public. We want you to use common sense. If you're out exercising by yourself, with your family, in your car, obviously you don't need to wear a mask. But if you're going to be in the grocery store, filling up gas, whatever the essential businesses are that you're utilizing, please wear your mask. It is an order by the City Council of Desert Hot Springs. The three ordinances that they rescinded yesterday, Doria will go through those and what that means for Desert Hot Springs. And with that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it over to Doria to talk a little bit about that, and then I'll finish up at the end. So Doria?
Thank you. So I'm actually going to start by sharing a presentation. So we'll go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so we're going to go into, as the mayor said, a real long, well, I'm going to try to make it not long. We're going to go through kind of where we were a couple months back, where we've been and where we're headed, and then what all of that means for us here in Desert Hot Springs. So we're going to provide some background and some history, and I know this may seem redundant. There's so many orders that have been out there, that are out there, that have been rescinded. So this is going to help to kind of give us that background and kind of whittle down to where we're at today. So with that said, on March 4th, 2020, Governor Gavin Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency in California due to COVID-19. On March 13th, Riverside County ordered that schools were to be closed, and they also ordered the cancellation of public gatherings of 250 people or more. On March 13th, that same day, City of Desert Hot Springs announced some operational changes that went into effect on March 16th. And really that included, you know, how we were gonna have our staff in City Hall operate. So we split staff into two groups, staggered work schedules, with weekly rotations of staff working in the office and some working from home. And then we also limited lobby and front counter operations. Obviously, there's a stay-at-home order now in effect, and so all of our staff is working from home at this point with a few exceptions. On March 16th, Riverside County modified their previous orders to basically prohibit any gathering with a presence of 10 or more people. And then they also mandated social distancing of 6 feet must be adhered to. They did exclude several types of essential businesses, courts of law, medical providers, public utilities, so on and so forth. But for the most part, any gathering of 10 or more people anywhere in the county as of March 16th was prohibited. In addition to the county orders, on March 16th, the City of Desert Hot Springs mandated that fast food and drive-through restaurants immediately close all in-dining areas of the restaurant. We also limited orders of fast food and drive-through restaurants to drive-through and pickup only. For traditional restaurants with dining, we asked or mandated that they immediately limit the number of individuals in a space to 10 at any given time to align with the county's order. And then we also recommended them transitioning to takeout only in an effort to maximize business operations while limiting the number of individuals to space to 10 at any given time. That 10 at any given time included employees, and so we did recommend transitioning to takeout. In addition to that, our code compliance hand-delivered notices to all businesses in the city. I think over the last, 2 months or so, our local businesses have really gotten to know our code compliance department and our economic development manager because they've been working really closely trying to keep businesses up to date on what all of these orders are, what they mean, and how businesses can operate here in town. On March 17th, Desert Hot Springs City Manager declared a local state of emergency that was pending ratification of the City Council. The following day, Desert Hot Springs City Council ratified that local state of emergency. On March 19th, Governor Gavin Newsom issued Executive Order N3320, which mandated that all individuals living in the state of California were to stay at home or at their place of residence, except as needed, to maintain continuity of operations of the federal critical infrastructure sectors. So that order, Executive Order N3320, that is the state of California stay-at-home order that we are all currently under. So although the county has since let their order expire, we do still have a stay-at-home order in effect, and it is under the state of California, issued by Governor Newsom under Executive Order N3320. The critical infrastructure sectors, this is what you hear often referred to as the essential businesses, are one of these 13 kind of broad scopes of businesses. So you got health and public, emergency, chemical sector, industrial. I'm not going to name them all, but we will make sure that this is posted on our website again. Basically, each sector does drill down and kind of go into specifics on which types of businesses under each sector is deemed essential. But the idea is this is the list of essential businesses that are allowed to continue operating under the current stay-at-home order that is in effect per the governor's executive order. On March 27th, 2020, Desert Hot Springs City Council adopted a resolution to protect both residential and commercial renters from evictions during the pandemic. This order is still in effect. We will get some information once again posted on our website, so it's up there and fresh again for you all. We previously posted it. But if we have either residential or commercial renters that are struggling to pay their rent, the City Council of Desert Hot Springs has put protections in place for you all so that you guys can weather through this pandemic. There's an FAQ page that I'll make sure gets posted that kind of walks a renter of either residential or commercial property on which steps they need to take to notify their landlord of their inability to pay, so on and so forth. So we'll get that posted. On April 29th, Riverside County officials announced that rather than extend the county stay-at-home order that was set to expire on April 30th, they were going to cede to the oversight of the governor's stay-at-home order that is in place with no expiration date. And I'm gonna probably say this 4 more times during this presentation. The original county order, stay-at-home order that was put in place prior to Governor Gavin Newsom issuing his executive order. So when the county decided to allow their order to expire, it wasn't so that the county didn't have a stay-at-home order. It was just to say, this order is no longer needed because we have an order of a higher authority that's in effect, and that's the governor's stay-at-home order, statewide stay-at-home order. So that's why that order was allowed to expire. There were a couple elements within the governor's orders that maybe were ambiguous or weren't really clear. So the county on April 29th did decide to go ahead and extend a couple orders that they did have in place. And so that was their ban on short-term rentals specifically, their suspension of schools, and the requirement to wear a face mask and to social distance. On April 29th, Governor Gavin Newsom issued California Resilience Roadmap Stages for Reopening California, and we're going to go through that here in just a few minutes. Now, just this past Tuesday, on May 5th, Desert Hot Springs City Council adopted a resolution mandating the use of protective face coverings and the continued practice of social distancing in the city of Desert Hot Springs. Earlier this week, we started to get some indication that the county may, in fact, move forward with rescinding some of the previous orders that they extended. And so to be very proactive, City Council got out there and said, hey, look, we really have to have these face masks, protections in place, and we need to have that still there regardless of what the county does or the state. So they took that action on Tuesday, May 5th. So right now, a couple things that are relevant, and I'm going to keep hammering on this. City of Desert Hot Springs does have a stay-at-home order per the governor's executive order to stay at home. Desert Hot Springs also has a order mandating the use of protective face coverings and the continued practice of social distancing here in the City of Desert Hot Springs. So those are two orders that are still ongoing, and folks, we are asking that folks still adhere to those. On May 8th, yesterday, the Riverside County officials announced that they were rescinding the previous orders that they had extended. Ban on short-term rentals, the requirement to wear face masks, and the order related to golf courses. I know all of this seems very contradictory to each other, and that's why we're doing this video. So yes, yesterday, the Riverside County officials rescinded those orders. However, I'm gonna say it again, there is still a stay-at-home order per the governor's executive order, and there is still a mandate to wear face masks per the local City of Desert Hot Springs order that was issued this past Tuesday. The ban on short-term rentals, yes, county officials rescinded that. That does not mean hotels get to open up. There are very few exceptions from where we sit right now today under the governor's executive orders that allow hotels to operate. One of the caveats is if they are providing shelter for homeless that are affected by this pandemic. And in order to do that, they need to be in partnership with the county and the state, and there's official documentation and such that needs to be in place for those folks to continue operating under that umbrella. The other caveat that allows hotels to operate is if they are providing housing, shelter for an essential worker. And the last caveat is if they are providing a space for somebody that is currently quarantined due to COVID-19. If you're not providing one of those three services, hotels unfortunately are unable to operate in the space that we sit today with the current stay-at-home order. So now we're going to kind of briefly go into this California Resilience Roadmap, because this is going to be really key for folks to understand this, because this is what the governor has put in place to detail how he plans for California to reopen. So really quickly, stage one is centered around safety and preparedness. Stage two is focused on lower risk workplaces. Stage three is higher risk workplaces. And stage four is just the end of the stay-at-home order. So stage one, we're past stage one, but stage one was all about kind of getting prepared and geared up for getting into phase two of this resilience roadmap, which is where we sit today. So during stage one, they were building out testing, contact tracing, making sure there was enough PPE for our hospital workers and essential workers. They were making essential workforce environments as safe as possible, so on and so forth. As many of you guys have probably heard through social media and some of our previous updates, the City of Desert Hot Springs has now, well, it's not the City of Desert Hot Springs that's actually running this facility. The county and the state are operating a testing facility here now in Desert Hot Springs at the Lozano Community Center located at Guy Tedesco Park. So in an effort to kind of move through to stage two of this plan, the testing capacity was really critical to that. So we do have a testing facility now here in the city. We have information on our website, on social media, for folks to be able to go and get tested. You do not need to be exhibiting symptoms. You do need to make an appointment, and that information, like I said, is online. So now let's talk a little bit about stage two. This is for lower risk workplaces. This allows for the gradual reopening of some lower risk workspaces with some adaptations. Stage three is the higher risk workplaces. And I know that there's a lot of people that are really eager for this phase, including myself. This is going to allow for personal care facilities and businesses to open up. So we can get our hair done, nail salons, gyms, the whole 9 yards. This is also going to allow entertainment venues in some capacity to open up, movie theaters, sports without live audiences, so on and so forth, and then in-person religious services. And then we get to what the governor's mapped out as stage 4, which is essentially the end of the stay-at-home order. And this is going to happen, as he's indicated, once therapeutics have been developed, and that will include concerts, convention centers, so on and so forth. So on May 4th, Governor Gavin Newsom announced plans to move into phase 2 to reopen California. And in that, actually, the first phase of that happened yesterday. So some additional information was released on Thursday, this past Thursday, and we'll go over that. But basically, a move to stage 2, it was very much stressed that it was going to be gradual and it would only include certain industries. It included the expanded retail with curbside pickup and associated manufacturing and supply chains. These are places like bookstores, clothing stores, florists, sporting goods stores. So basically, this would allow for curbside pickup at all other retail locations that weren't part of the grocery store chains, so on and so forth. So what's not included? Unfortunately, at this time, what's still not included is offices, seated dining at restaurants, and shopping mall openings. It was indicated, earlier this week from the state that counties will have the ability to move more quickly through stage 2 if they attest that they can meet the state's readiness criteria. And we're going to go over that readiness criteria. Counties must create and submit a readiness plan, which will be publicly available. And unfortunately, it's been pretty clear and articulated per the state's plan that it's going to be counties, not cities, that are going to determine the local reopening plan. So in order for the county, and again, I stress the county because the county as a whole has to meet these provisions before the respective cities within that county will be able to move further along into phase 2. That's, again, per the governor's plan. In order for counties to be able to accelerate further along into phase 2, that's going to open up a lot more businesses, the following must be in place. The county has to have 15 contact tracers per 100,000 residents. There can be no more than 1 new case of coronavirus per 10,000 people in the last 2 weeks. There can be no COVID-19 related deaths in the last 2 weeks. There must be a minimum daily testing capacity of 1.5 per 1,000 residents. There must be enough personal protective equipment for essential workers. They must have the ability to house at least 15% of homeless residents. The county or regional level hospital capacity for a patient surge of 35% must be in place. They must have a robust plan to protect their hospital workforce and more than 2 weeks supply of personal protective equipment on hand for skilled nursing facilities. Desert Hot Springs as a whole has met almost all of these requirements. Unfortunately, it's not based on what Desert Hot Springs as a whole has met on this list. It has to be the county. And so we are collaborating with the county to make sure that we're doing our part to move this forward as best as we can. And I'm gonna send it back to the mayor here in just a minute. But one of the things that I want to really say to the community before I pass it back to the mayor is you guys have been doing a wonderful job. I know that this, and I can speak for myself. That's all I can speak for, quite frankly. This has been some of the most trying times of our life. Never have we ever been in this situation. If you would have asked me 5 months ago if I thought that we would be locked down in a home during a pandemic, it just would have seemed just so unfathomable, but yet here we sit. And you as a community, you guys have been fantastic. I know many of you guys are struggling. I know that these are hard times, and I'm really proud of this community that I was born and raised in, how you guys have all come together and have done your part to the best that you can do to make sure that our community is staying as safe as possible. So thank you. We'll continue to bring you accurate information as we get it. And with that said, I'm going to send it back over to Mayor Mattis so he can provide some final thoughts.
Great. Doria just does a fantastic job of making that very clear and precise on what the facts are. And that's our city council wanted to thank her for putting this together. And I want to thank all our staff for doing the job they've done over these last couple months. It's been very trying, as Doria had said, with all of us and our families. Some of the things I wanted to reiterate or hit on real quick. Again, Doria hit on it, the testing site in Desert Hot Springs. This is ran by the county. This has to meet some of the readiness criteria the governor wants. We're very fortunate to have one here in Desert Hot Springs. You don't have to have signs and symptoms, but you must have an appointment, and you can find the link to that on our website. Also on ribcoph.org, the county website. So there's multiple avenues for you, or just Google it. The testing site is at the Lozano Center. Mayor Pro Tem Robert Griffith has put together a task force. He's a hotelier. He's putting together other businesses that would like to join the task force. rgriffith@cityofdhs.org, or please call the city at 760-329-6411 and leave your name and number with him, and he will call you back and see if you meet the criteria for his task force. I have been writing letters with other mayors to the governor. As Doria said, it's a county that has to make the decision in the future on how this is going to come down for each city, which we don't think is exactly fair, because there are some cities that are going to meet these criteria and shouldn't be mandated to stay closed. Some cities are in a position where they're just going to open, which isn't good. The city of Desert Hot Springs relies on a lot of federal funding, a lot of state funding, and a lot of state grants. And the governor has been very clear that he will take those away from cities and counties if we continue to do things that are out of his mandates. And so we cannot risk that. We're a community that has a very small budget. We're a community that really relies on these grants. All those road projects that you see today are state funded grants. Without that, those roads wouldn't be repaved and redone. So it's very important that we keep adhering to the governor's orders, even if we agree or disagree with them. What was very impressive about the supervisors meeting last night was that all 5 different types of people coming together to make a decision based on what they thought was best for the county and the cities of that county, not just letting their politics get involved. And that's why I was impressed by it. They basically said that every city can adhere to these. I think one supervisor used ridiculous readiness criteria plan. So they're joining with other supervisors from Southern California, other counties, to possibly either convince the governor that this needs to be relaxed a little bit and more realistic measures need to be met, or could be met, or that there possibly could be lawsuits. That's why I'm supporting what they're doing today. For those of you that are on social media and listening and reading the press, please read everything that the press puts out, and read everything that we're talking about today. When you put out false accusations online or on social media, it doesn't help the situation. You currently still have to wear a mask in Desert Hot Springs. You currently still have to stay at home. You currently have to follow the state mandates. That's just the law right now, and you have to continue to do that. For those of you that have small businesses such as bars and hair salons, and the list can go on and on and on, a lot of you are state licensed, and the governor has made it very clear. He went into 2 counties over the last couple of days and took away licenses from businesses. That means you can't function after that, not just from the city of Desert Hot Springs standpoint. We have some enforcement tools that we will be using in the future if needed, but as of right now, we're asking everybody to just participate. And we'll get through this. And last, I just want to say this. We don't want this to come back in the winter. It has been talked about by multiple medical professionals that this could spike again this winter. And if that happens, that would be devastating to the city of Desert Hot Springs. We're already starting to get to the point of being devastated, our economy being devastated, if we have to run another month without these businesses opening. There's small businesses that don't have the funding to be able to stay open. There's landlords that are not working with the businesses, and that's a shame. These are all kinds of scenarios out there that I've heard recently by multiple emails, phone calls, Facebook messages, and those so forth. And I just want to make it very clear, if we do our part now, we make sure we're safe, that this won't come back this winter, and that we'll continue to strengthen our economy as it goes on. I again appreciate all of you taking the time to listen to this and listen to the facts. So please, if you have any questions, call City Hall at 760-329-6411 email me, email any of your council members or our staff members, and we'll get you questions. We'll get your questions answered as quick as possible. Get the facts first. We're all in this together. Again, I want to thank Doria for joining me today and putting out those facts. And if you have any other questions, again, those are the avenues to get those questions answered. Have a safe and great weekend, and hopefully we'll have some more updates next week as things change. It's changing daily.
Thank you.